Mr. Ram Lakina, Chairman of the Stichting Mahatma Gandhi here in the Netherlands. Mr. Bernard Bott, Chairman of Carnegie Foundation, former Foreign Minister. Mr. Voorhoef, former Defense Minister. Rabin Baldev Singh, a good friend, former Deputy Mayor of the Netherlands. Ambassador Eric Hague, former Ambassador to India, members of the diplomatic community, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure for me to join all of you on this special day, which is a conjunction of probably three important events. One, that it is the birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. Two, that it has been declared, October 2nd, every year has been declared International Day of Non-Violence by the United Nations, and people and countries all over the world mark this International Day of Non-Violence. And three, today marks the beginning of the commencement of 2 years of celebrations to mark the 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi, which falls in 2019, October 2nd. I would like to begin by thanking and complimenting the Stichting Mahatma Gandhi for the outstanding work it has been doing for nearly 3 decades. And I would also like to thank the Carnegie Foundation for the excellent support that it has rendered the Indian Embassy here, the Indian community here, and all lovers of peace and non-violence. Their mission is peace. And we see that as an integral part of everything that India stands for, that Mahatma Gandhi stands for, the Father of our nation, and that all that we seek to achieve in the world. Friends, the topic I have been given, since there are many speakers, I will not tarry long, but Mr. Lakina has invited me to speak about the relevance of Gandhian philosophy in containing political and social violence in post-independence India, and this is a topic perhaps many of you are not familiar with. Let me begin by saying that it is the experience of India, and I presume perhaps the experience of many, if not most, countries who have had a pre-colonial past and then transitioned to post-colonial societies, that the nature of your independence movement influences the manner in which the society develops in the post-colonial period. And this is where India is unique, and Mahatma Gandhi was instrumental in making non-violent struggle, civil disobedience, the centerpiece of India's freedom struggle. Where countries have had an armed revolution or a violent overthrow of the existing colonial order, which was an unjust order, or where even today there are conflicts which remain unresolved in the world. There is a colonial legacy which perhaps still lingers in many parts of the world, which have not been resolved. These transitions have not happened. But in India, because the freedom struggle was led by Mahatma Gandhi, was built on the principle of ahimsa or non-violence, satyagraha or truth force, the name Mahatma Gandhi gave his weapon of civil disobedience. The India which was born after independence in 1947 and the Constitution of India which was adopted in 1950 by those of the independence movement, by the generation which brought freedom to India, reflected the philosophy of Mahatma Gandhi, reflected the ideals of the freedom movement. We have a colleague from the US Embassy here, and I was just mentioning to him, he looks after human rights. When the Universal Declaration on Human Rights was drafted, one of the first people, Mrs. Eleanor Roosevelt, who was chairman of the drafting committee, consulted was Mahatma Gandhi. She wrote to him saying, please give us inputs. Because Mahatma Gandhi was not seen merely as a leader of the freedom movement of India or as a champion of non-violence, but also one of the foremost human rights campaigners in the world, whose ideas were essential at the formative stages of the United Nations when the Universal Declaration on Human Rights, one of the first major texts to be adopted, was being drafted. And similarly, in 1950, when the Indian Constitution was adopted, from 47 to 50, the Indian leaders, the freedom, essentially the leaders of the freedom generation, drafted the Constitution. They went back and took the Universal Declaration on Human Rights and they looked at the US Bill of Rights. And it is these two documents which constitute the basis of the chapter on fundamental rights in the Indian Constitution. So human rights wasn't, because of the history and the background of a struggle for human rights during the independence movement, human rights became an integral part of the Indian Constitution, and it is something that we in India are very proud of, that not only do we have a chapter on human rights, not only is there the letter of law, one of the most important of the human rights enshrined in the Indian Constitution is the right of every citizen, indeed every person. There are some cases where even foreigners can approach the courts of law. The right to approach a court of law to enforce fundamental rights. That right itself is a fundamental right in the Indian Constitution. Eric, in his opening remarks, mentioned Mahatma Gandhi's period as a lawyer. Mahatma Gandhi enrolled as a barrister in the UK. He saw how the political system and the legal system in UK works. And when he came back to India, when he started developing his political thinking, the question he asked himself was, if the people of Britain are entitled to parliamentary democracy, if they are entitled to human rights, if they talk about the principle of rule of law from the days of Magna Carta, if they talk about equality, why should it be denied to the people of India just because we are a colony? So this spirit that if there is one good system which exists somewhere else, just because we were forcibly occupied or colonized, just because we belong to a different color or we speak a different language or a different religion, that doesn't mean one group of people are above the other group of people. Human rights are inalienable. The rights of man are inalienable. This is the philosophy which has permeated the best political thinkers and constitutions of the world. And this is the philosophy which caused Mahatma Gandhi and India and most countries of the world to vehemently oppose the system of apartheid in South Africa, because that was the worst form of institutionalized discrimination which existed in the world till that system was eliminated. So the whole freedom struggle was built on this philosophy that what is right, what is good for people anywhere in the world is good for our people. And if it is good for our people, it is good for people across the world. And it is in this context that the first Indian government came into being, the first generation of Indian leaders took power, the constitution was drafted, and since then, for over 70 years, the constitution has been in practice. But as all who belong to democracies, as students of political science and law and of the world would know, democracy is the best system possible, but it is far from perfect. Democracy brings with itself a number of institutional weaknesses which have to be constantly struggled with, which has to be managed, which has to be dealt with. I know here in the Netherlands, every time after an election when the coalition governments are formed, people are so impatient. I've had enough businessmen come and say, when will they reach an agreement? I think that this current government came to power after a long series of negotiations. Look at what is happening in UK with Brexit. Is Brexit happening? Is it not happening? Is the opposition, is the government supporting it? Are there factions in the government supporting it? Is the opposition supporting it? Is everything going to be turned upside down? And the consequences to economy, the consequences to political stability, the consequences to the life of people. This is democracy. It is a highly messy affair. It is a difficult affair. Getting everyone to come together, to talk, to discuss, to agree upon a common agenda is not an easy task. And to ensure that growth, economic growth happens, development happens, even as we give the highest respect to fundamental rights, even as we maintain a rule of law, even as we have an independent judiciary, free press, civil society, is not an easy task for anyone. Even more so for a country like India, which has a population of 1.3 billion people, and which is the most diverse country you can probably find anywhere in the world, in terms of language, in terms of culture, in terms of religion, in terms of food. You name any diversity, it exists in India. And when you have so much diversity, and when you have a democratic system, it is very easy for some political entrepreneurs or people with a negative political agenda to pick up on differences between people and to play it up for political gain and political advantage. When you give freedom of speech and expression to people, and it is absolutely imperative that everyone should have the freedom of speech and expression, you would also find people who tend to misuse that freedom of speech and expression. And how does that get checked as a collective entity, as a society, or through the instruments of law and justice? So this is a challenge India has been facing over 70 years. And there was a great author who passed away recently, V.S. Naipaul, who won the Nobel Prize, who wrote a book called India, A Million Mutinies Today. In India, at any point of time, if you read the newspapers, if you watch the television, a million mutinies are happening. There is crisis, there is strife, there is problems, there are agitations, there are demonstrations which happen across the country. It is not, I know, I think when Prime Minister Modi was here, he said, Prime Ministers of many countries come and ask me, how do you manage this? How do you run a country so big? How do you run a country so diverse? So every day is a challenge for India. But in that challenge, Mr. Vakina has used the word containing political and social violence. I would say that India has not contained but predominantly eliminated political and social violence. If political and social violence happens in any corner of our huge country, which is called a subcontinent with such a large population and such diversity, it's an exception and it is an aberration. And the reason it is an exception and it's an aberration is once again because of the kind of freedom movement that we waged, because of the leadership of people like Mahatma Gandhi, because we are a democracy which gives space and opportunities for people to openly air their disagreements, to come up with their problems, to approach members of parliament or members of legislative assembly, to walk up to ministers. So a huge variety, the provision of freedom, the establishment of democracy provides, based on the principles of Mahatma Gandhi, based on the principles of the independence movement, gives India the ability to deal with all kinds of political and social issues. Let me just point out a few examples. If you look at anywhere in the world today, especially a country like India when it became independent, it was desperately poor. The biggest miracle was that there was no revolution by the poor. There were communists, there have been Maoists, the poor are always larger in number than the rich. But how was it that there has never been an armed revolution which never overthrew the central government or state governments in India? We have had pockets of resistance, which even today the government is dealing with. But Maoism, Marxism, Leninism, whatever name you call it, predominantly in India is today through the parliamentary process, through the democratic process. The armed revolution has never happened and nobody fears will happen. In contrast, there have been Gandhian leaders in modern times who have used the same techniques of persuasion, who have used the techniques of protest to advance their cause. Some of the most well-known is there were leaders who asked the rich to voluntarily give part of their wealth, part of their land to the landless, saying India is a highly unequal society, we must change this. This was called the Bhudan movement. Acharya Vinoba Bhave, Jayaprakash Narayan. We have had Gandhian workers who have gone into dacoit invested areas, gangster invested areas, and through the force of moral persuasion, persuaded them to become mainstream, to come to the mainstream, to accept their mistakes, to give up their means of violence or robbery, and to become private citizens. There are a very famous lady who was one of the most feared women dacoits in India, Fulan Devi, went on to become a member of parliament after having been dacoit and having served her jail sentence. So this is an example of Gandhian transformation. And across the northeast of India, where there were violent secessionist movements from India, these movements through dialogue and persuasion were brought to the mainstream. They joined the political process, they formed political parties, they contested elections, became chief ministers. And today, some of the most visible examples of Gandhian protest are seen in the environmentalists of India, where people feel that some of the policies of the government or policies of big companies or policies of the rich are destroying the environment, and for the sake of society as a whole and for future generations, a collective struggle should be waged. There is a famous movement called the Chipko movement, led by a great man called Sundarlal Bakula, which involved, there was a decision to cut an entire forest of trees, and the people of the villages, the women of the villages in particular, went and hugged the trees. See, you can cut us first, but we will not let you cut this tree. Chipko means to cling on to. So they clung onto the trees and said, our lives first, but not the trees. So those are the examples of Gandhian struggle in modern day India. Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India, once said, Mahatma Gandhi not just liberated India from the British, he also liberated India from fear. People of India do not have the fear to raise their concerns. They do not have the fear to speak out what they believe in. They do not have the fear to organize themselves and to collectively agitate or protest when they see something going wrong. And that is one of the greatest legacies of Mahatma Gandhi, which survives across the country today. But the Universal Declaration on Human Rights talks about fear from freedom, the need for freedom, or freedom from fear, as well as freedom from want. India is even today waging a struggle for achieving that freedom from want. We have achieved the freedom from fear, but not the freedom from want. And as we wage that struggle for freedom from want, there is a limit, or there has to be a balance between public agitation and the use of constitutional methods, between parliamentary democracy, use of instruments of justice, the courts of law, and mass protests in the country. And this balance is a constantly evolving balance. One of the biggest agitations in recent times, which Delhi witnessed, was an agitation against corruption, where a Gandhian leader called Anna Hazare rallied thousands of middle-class ordinary citizens who had no involvement in politics, and against the face of opposition of every political party, forced the government to come and negotiate with civil society a legislation on anti-corruption. This is unheard of in any other parliament. It is the business of the parliament to adopt legislation. But here, the government was forced to negotiate with the people, with the public, and adopt agree on a legislation, then bring it to the parliament to ratify. So these Gandhian movements have happened in the recent past, but there's always to be a balance in a democracy, in a modern day society. So in today's context, Gandhian struggle, living up to Gandhi's values, does not mean filling up the jails of the British as he did in the civil disobedience days, but it means raising awareness, raising consciousness, and social activism, political activism, being concerned and involved in the problems of your society. Today, the challenge is not to oppose unjust laws. Yes, if there is an unjust law, it should be opposed, but to influence the drafting of laws through the process of parliament, by talking to parliamentarians, by engaging with them, and ensuring that governments implement the laws which have already been adopted. In a country like India, often the problem is not the law. The problem is the implementation of the law, and how can we translate that letter into spirit? How can we translate the letter of the law into reality? That is the big challenge that the Indian democracy is engaged in. And most important of all, something which even Mahatma Gandhi struggled with in his days, creating a culture of non-violence, creating a culture of democratic tolerance, creating a culture and a mindset that every man is equal, every man is entitled to the same opportunities and same rights, every man should progress economically and enjoy a good quality of living. And here, there is a famous incident in 1921 when Mahatma Gandhi and the Indian National Congress launched the non-cooperation movement. The movement was a huge success across India. The British government across India came to a complete standstill. Millions of people came out on the streets in support of Mahatma Gandhi. And it was a completely peaceful, non-violent struggle, till one solitary incident happened. When peaceful marchers were going in front of a police station in a town called Chauri Chaura, some policemen decided to attack one of the marchers. And the marchers couldn't contain their anger. And they attacked the police station, they burnt down the police station, a few policemen were killed. This incident shocked Mahatma Gandhi so much that he said, my country is not ready for non-violence, my people are not ready for non-violence, I call off the struggle. Stop, no more agitation, we are not ready to do it the way I want it done. His entire party revolted against him. His entire leadership and colleagues said, no, how can you do this, Mahatma Gandhi? We are on the verge of driving the British out through this agitation. Just because one small thing happened in some part of the country, how can you call off the entire nationwide agitation? But Mahatma Gandhi stood by his principles and said, no, one non-violent incident is bad enough, it should not happen. We stop now, let us prepare our people more, we go back. So same is the challenge that we fight today in a country like India, in all democratic societies, where there continue to remain tendencies for violence, tendencies to use political and social conflict for private agendas. And this can be conquered, this can be dealt with only through a change in mindset and a change in culture. And it is exactly for this change in mindset and culture that great institutions like the Carnegie Foundation exist. That's why we have meetings like this. That's why we are marking the 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi in such an elaborate manner with over 2 years of activities. We hold a Gandhi March here in the Hague to raise the awareness of people. That these are not just words. It's very easy to say peace, non-violence, but to implement it is extremely difficult. Prophet Isaiah said, turn your plowshares, turn your swords into plowshares, your spears into pruning hooks. Let no nation wage war against another nation, let no man lift arms against another. Old Testament, Prophet Isaiah said this. This is the dream of the United Nations. We are far from achieving it. But can we stop trying? Absolutely not. We know what our goal is. We know which is the path that we should tread on. We know how people like Mahatma Gandhi have created concrete change through non-violence, something which was believed impossible at that point of time when he first started talking about it. Similarly, even today, yes, there are instances of political and social violence, but there is a need for change in culture, there is need for change in mindset, there is need for institutions like the Carnegie Foundation, like the Sticking Mahatma Gandhi Foundation. And what is needed is that we all work together collectively to change the culture of our society, to change the mindset of our people, so that non-violence and peace truly become principles that we absorb in our hearts and we practice in every moment of our lives. Thank you very much.